Oh yeah, welcome back to episode 13 of the Harbor Site, and this is kind of off the cuff one because I walked into the gym today, and my man Johnny SLICKS was throwing a temper tantrum.
I was
fed up.
I was.
You were pissed.
I was
homie.
so upset. I'm still upset.
I'm pretty pissed too because there's like so much more to it. But
Yeah.
So give me the rundown of what happened.
Bro, so
No, hold on.
Don't let me loose. And then
So don't talk about like
the specifics.
Talk
Talk about the general.
like what specifically happened. Not about the man or like the background. We'll get into that. But like what is the scenario that happened?
Oh, okay. Well, we're getting rid of statues. We're fucking getting
No,
rid
the
of
specific
history.
one that just recently happened.
Yeah, so the natural actually I have the article pulled up, but so you want me to say specific?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So I woke up this morning, Rebecca said, "Yo, did you hear the news?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." And she showed me articles, countless articles of Theodore Roosevelt's statue being taken down, right? They're removing it from the Natural History Museum in New York. And I am livid because I absolutely love Theodore Roosevelt.
This is an awesome man.
And all the Roosevelts. They're amazing people.
Yeah.
And they did amazing things for our country. And I'm just like,
Things that are still holding now.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
then the structures, the beliefs, our economic structures, like everything is built off of this.
So why did they take this statue down?
So they're saying it's non-racial. There's not a non-racial agenda to it. And I have quotes from the museum itself, and then, of course, people, news articles talking about it. And they're saying it's non-racial, but somehow they put George Floyd's name in it. So
what?
Yeah.
How does he play?
Yeah. I remember I was reading it and I was like super confused because they say, here you go. Here's a quote. This is directly from CNN talking about this, and this was published today. Theodore Roosevelt statue removed from New York City Museum after sparking controversy.
What's the controversy?
A museum spokesperson told CNN, this is so stupid, man. The statue itself communicates a racial hierarchy that the museum and members of the public have long found disturbing.
So it's not a racial thing, but
it's not racial.
they just said it was racial.
And then I read a couple articles too saying that how over the last few weeks, our museum community has been profoundly moved by the ever-widening movement for racial justice that has emerged after killing of George Floyd. That's the museum's president said that.
Well, I mean, he's back in the President of the United States, who basically said George Floyd made a bigger impact than Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, maybe he did.
Sure. Maybe
not a good one.
Define impact.
Are we just saying how large of the impact?
Yeah.
I don't even think that's true, even though, but yeah,
it definitely is not true.
An asteroid can cause an impact.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it should be praised or worshipped. But what really got me
what an idiot
to throw my temper tantrum is because I've been doing a lot of research on quotes about presidents and how they operated and how they spoke and what their belief was when they became elected, and then even afterwards. George Washington, Abe Lincoln, Franklin Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, all of these like great presidents and their beliefs.
Yeah.
And then we're seeing that there's kids that are offended about something and they're taking it out on history.
It's because Ali and I have talked about this a lot. It's because this younger generation really has they've been living fat on the hog, right? And so they've had no struggle or controversy they've had to deal with. So what they're doing is they're creating one.
Yeah.
They want something to protest.
They want something to fight over.
Yeah.
Which I get, right? I get a young fiery generation. They want something to, we all had something to fight over. They don't have anything. Hate to break it to you. I mean, like before COVID, everything's kind of doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And I mean, even when people say, well, this and that and the other, it's just like we've talked about, racism is a real thing. Well, yeah, but it's also considered at this point prejudice because the laws have changed. Isaiah
Washington, when we were talking to him, he kind of clearly that's on the podcast somewhere, isn't it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a great episode of him, breaking down prejudice versus, racism.
And we actually did that one with the Martin Luther King opener for last year.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're taking down the statue.
Yeah.
And something about the Native American and the...
Yeah, that's... really what it's about, right?
Right.
Let's like break it down to see where the agenda is.
Yeah.
The statue itself has Theodore Roosevelt sitting on the horse, which he is very widely known to do often because he was into nature, national
Well, not
parks
just that,
and all
but he actually served. When he served, they were horse mounted.
Yeah. He actually is the only, speaking of, he is the only U.S. president to ever been awarded the Medal of Honor as a lieutenant colonel in 1898. So he was awarded the Medal of Honor in 2001, I believe, for his acts of bravery in 1898.
So go back. So go back to that statue.
The statue is him on a horse.
Yeah.
And he has an indigenous person to his side and an African American to his side. And then right here it says, this is the mayor, Blasio, right? The American Museum of Natural History has asked to remove the Theodore Roosevelt statue because it explicitly depicts black and indigenous people as subjugated as racially inferior.
Now, according to my knowledge, that is not what that depicts.
Not at all.
Not at all.
So
they're changing the narrative of what that is.
100%.
Right.
Absolutely. Because Teddy Roosevelt had some views when in his early presidency that people are really pounding on. But if you really look at the core of what he did, he was the first U.S. president to invite an African American to break bread with him in the White House. It doesn't sound like a person who's super racist to me.
Yeah.
Same thing with indigenous people. I think it was the IRA actually said that what's the quote I have? They have a really good quote for him. Indian Rights Association quoted, "No man in the country has a fuller or more practical sympathy with the Indian than the President Roosevelt, nor a better understanding of their conditions and needs."
I think that goes back to, and this is what people are missing. They see that and they're just creating a narrative.
Yeah.
But based off my knowledge, and I'm no historian by any means, based off my knowledge, I think that comes from time in the war when he worked side by side, all different people. Like he worked with Native Americans in the war.
Yeah.
He worked with former slaves in the war, not as like slaves, but as you know, brothers in arms, essentially.
So his speak softly, carry a big stick. That was his thing as president. He was somebody that you don't hit softly. There's nothing worse than hitting softly. When you hit with purpose and you hit hard. Yeah. That was his thing. And he believed in his whole structure of his belief systems strive from all men. They don't choose where they're born, how they're born, or the opportunities that arrive. A good man is able to overcome any adversity and come out better. Right. He didn't care race. He didn't care about anything like that. He just cared about somebody who has suffered and can overcome that. Right. He did not have any respect for anybody who suffered and continued the soft life of what he called woe is me, right? Yeah. He hated that, absolutely hated that. And he surrounded himself with leaders such as big stick people, which is super confusing to me.
Today, he would be hated.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because based off of the knowledge that I know, he would call for accountability of individuals. And people don't like that. Like, your success is on you.
Yeah,
you want something, work hard, fight for it.
So, you know the story of Geronimo? He was a prisoner of war, an indigenous prisoner of war. When somebody came to him, an author was going to write a biography for him, it was getting published and everything was going good. The military actually tried to shut down the publication of that book because it was depicting the military, the U.S. military, as negative, right? Theodore Roosevelt single-handedly got involved and made sure that book was published.
There you go.
That doesn't sound like somebody who is
right. And can we just say that he's on a horse with them because he was the lieutenant colonel?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Right. And that's where they set on fucking horses back then. Yeah.
Yeah. And then at the same time too, if we look back in history, this was a time when the U.S. military was really taking land and we were paying for the land for the indigenous people. We were pushing them west. And Theodore Roosevelt saw that a lot of these lands that the indigenous people, the tribes were praising, Devil's Tower, all of these national parks that we know now as national parks, they weren't national parks back then. And he saw that these places were getting destroyed. He said, no more of this. And he made them national parks.
Right.
So they cannot be touched by the military. This is not somebody who just ruled with an iron fist. Like, I'm a dictator. I like only white people, Euro, Caucasians. Everyone else is like, that's not somebody. Those actions don't line up.
He wasn't a pre-Adolf Hitler.
No, not at all. Like what they're saying and what they're doing with somebody
they're
who can't defend
changing. They're
themselves.
changing the narrative.
Right.
Yeah.
And this guy was able to single-handedly like change the country and how we do things, and we're still doing the things he enacted back in the day.
Well, I know a lot of people like try to dig him for hunting, but he actually is. He was the one that started the animal conservation program.
Yeah.
To where you can still hunt today.
Yeah.
And he like capped it to where like each species is being taken care of, so they're not running. Because I guess back in the day with buffalo, they were just like whoever was, they were just wiping them out, and the military was wiping them out because they were food for the Native Americans. So he's the one that put that into place to where they wouldn't be, so the animals wouldn't go.
He connected the East and the West through the Panama Canal. Even though we talk shit on the FDA now, he enacted the FDA.
Well, I mean, I think the reason for that was
control. Well, what they wanted was honesty.
Initially, it was honesty
and transparency,
right. Yeah.
And then obviously that got corrupted.
Now they're fucking
after
horrible.
He left presidency, it started to get corrupted. So a lot of things happened with his absence, and because he's absent now, people are taking abuse of his name. And I mean, this is literally a statue in front of the museum.
This is what's scary to me. So we are, because of the last 2 years, this, whatever you want to call it, wokeism or changing of narratives, you're changing both good, you're erasing both good and bad history.
Right.
And the old saying is, I quote it all the time. I don't remember who said it, but those who do not know their history are doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's scary is like, well, this is offensive. This is, there were slaves and there was bad things that happened. That's part of history. Guess what? The Holocaust was a tragedy as well. But this is stuff that we learn from. For instance, you've got Germany, who they erased the Holocaust.
That was their purpose, is to eradicate the Jewish people.
But I mean, now, after that, they erased it from history books because it was a black eye on them.
Oh yeah, now in textbooks, absolutely.
So they don't teach about that. That's not spoken about.
I remember even in elementary school, we had parents that were, our teachers were teaching us about it, and we had like grandparents' day or whatever, and so they were all in there, and we were going over stuff about the Holocaust, and there was literally grandparents
that were still alive,
that were actual, and there was parents that were saying, well, they were trying to act like it might not have actually happened.
Yeah,
and
slavery happened.
I remember being like a second grader, and the lady's got a fucking serial number on her wrist.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I remember running into people with serial numbers on their arms. Anyways, so this is what's scary to me, is because now you look at what's happening in Germany with COVID. Yeah, it's like, well, this is pretty scary. You guys have already done this before. Yeah, like it didn't work out so well the last time, and that's what's bad, is when you erase the good and the bad, you're not learning lessons. Just because bad things happen doesn't mean that we need to erase them. Yeah, bad things happen. That's why we learn and grow from them. Yeah, we learn that maybe democracy and freedom is the correct way to do things. Yeah. But, slavery is not.
Segregation is not.
Segregation is not.
Are we like next to get rid of railroads because Asian slaves built them?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like where Mount Rushmore? Teddy Roosevelt's on Mount Rushmore? Are we just going to blow that up now?
Where's the line? Yeah, if that's the case, then go to the pyramids and, knock the pyramids down.
What's the line? Is it based on the new generation's offense level? Like, is it because they're offended by the pyramids?
I like that. There's a video going around of remember the guy he's like walking through the doorway. Did you see that? Mm-mm. And it was like 1970s, and he walks.
Oh, he hits the shoulder,
thing and doesn't even do anything. And then the 70s, and he's like, and then the 80s, nothing. 90s, like, what's up, bro? And then the 2000s.
He hits it, falls
down, takes a selfie. Yeah, tries
hashtag stop door frames. Yeah, some shit like that. Yeah.
It's like where do we got where does the accountability, the self accountability, and the ownership of your own life and your own circle and the bubble that you're in take effect? Like, unfortunately, what it looks like is we are going to repeat all of the bad shit that we have done in our history is. Yeah. All because we just erased it.
But there's something just doesn't make sense to me, because say you have a bad childhood. Are you just going to get rid of every photo you have?
No, that's a great point. So I like that, because we've talked about this a lot on the podcast. So you got two people. One's, they're both poor, raised in bad neighborhoods, and they both have, say, abusive fathers, right? you can look at that kid and say, well, he's not going to amount to much.
He had a rough start.
He doesn't have any opportunity.
He's a statistic.
He's a statistic.
Yeah.
One rises through it.
Yeah.
I'm one to talk. Like
Yeah.
that literally is my childhood. And the other one goes towards gangs and, which I did too, but I got through it, stays in that circle.
Yeah.
And goes to prison, and next thing you know, they're dead by 30.
Yeah.
Drugs and gangs and illegal activity. So what's the difference? What's the difference between those two individuals?
The mindset.
Mindset.
Yeah.
Like either make a choice, a personal choice. No one's going to do it for you. Make a personal choice to make something of yourself.
Yeah.
And to fight hard, or you just go, what was me?
Right. I've heard that.
Not my fault.
I've had a couple
Not
friends
my fault. Yeah, it's not my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that were adopted. And so I have one girlfriend who's adopted and her sister was adopted. So their parents adopted 2 girls from 2 different families at birth, right? So exact same scenario at birth. One daughter is like happy, passionate about life, and just so thankful that she wasn't raised by a teen mom with nothing.
Right.
So thankful that she was adopted and her family took care of her and she had all these opportunities. The other one is like still fucking stuck.
Bitter.
Like hate, angry, and like she was adopted at birth. They both were adopted at birth, but one never let go of this identity, took on this identity of like unwanted or something.
That's just so talking big picture with the generation. It's like they have these kids. Everybody that's doing this, like there has to be some personal accountability for your life and what you want. And that's what's scary to me is because by removing all of this stuff, erasing history, we're erasing the lessons that we could learn to make ourselves better, to shorten the curve. It's no difference for us than getting a business coach.
Yeah.
It's like I want to do 3 years I want to do what I would take me 3 years to do in a year. And have that kind of growth with our team and not just physically, but mentally as well. And, anyways, so.
I think it's funny too that Theodore Roosevelt literally said something, I'm paraphrasing because I don't know the exact quote, but he said that the fall of our nation will come from prosperity at any price, peace at any price, soft living, something else. I forget what he said the other way, but I stuck to the soft living.
Yeah.
Get rich quick theory.
Yeah.
That's what he believed. No, you can't get rich quick. You need to put work in, hard work.
Yeah.
You need to be accountable, and you can't be soft. And that was like what he practiced and what he taught. And I think it's funny that people that are into soft living are taking his statue down.
Right.
And it's frustrating because it's what's next. I think in the year 2020 after George Floyd, they ended up taking down over 100 or 160, I can't remember the number, statues.
Oh, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And some of them, honestly, like I don't know. I don't know the whole stories of all of them. There's a lot in the South that were taken down.
Confederate.
Yeah. Which is like, I get.
Yeah.
I understand. But guess what? Again.
Then what do they take out of the history books?
Right.
Yeah.
Then what do they take out? Like we went looking for photos and images because I remember growing up in my history book, like seeing all these images of segregation.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they were
Jim
teaching,
Crow and
yes,
stuff,
they were teaching us all that. And so I
Yeah.
remember the history books was just full of it, and I see some of those images in my head.
I remember
Still to this day.
I remember the colleges when they first
the drinking fountains, the
Yeah, yeah.
restaurants,
Yeah.
all that stuff. Watching, black people have to pick up their food from the back of our door of a restaurant, and no coloreds allowed. All that stuff. I mean, I can still see it in my head. Well, I was trying to do a video last year about all this stuff during.
You had a hard time finding it.
and the images are like wiped.
Yeah.
It is so hard to find those images that were just everywhere as kids.
So
they're being pulled.
So at what point do they say, well, that never happened?
Right.
We didn't really do that.
Yeah. And now I'm all about, like, I understand removing statues from places of praise. Now that's very different than just destroying or obliterating history. Now with the Jim Crow stuff, they definitely moved a lot of the things over to a Jim Crow museum. In which the owner of the museum, I don't know if he's an owner or if he's the president of the board or anything, but it's a massive place with absolutely nothing to hide. And the guy, they're all open about everything going on. And the problem was they had it all spread out throughout the country, and it wasn't being taught the right way. So they consolidated it in a place. That's very, very different of a situation than just, I don't like this statue. let's put graffiti over George Washington's face.
Yeah, it hurts my feelings.
And tear it down.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm upset. That's very, very different. These are completely separate situations. One's based on learning, education, and intellect. And the other one's based on emotion, fear, and control.
And that's where, I've got some heat, in the recent talking about basically like, fuck your feelings. And the reason why I say that is because people get so emotional that they don't think logical. Like your feelings are going to get hurt. Things in life are not going to go your way.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. And if you wrap your feelings around it all the time, you are going to go nowhere and you are going to be one unhappy person.
Yeah.
Nothing is fair.
Yeah.
It's, I heard a quote basically saying that, what fair is somebody getting their way and somebody not getting their way.
Yeah. Balance. Equal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing there is no fair.
It's by own definition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody, all these feeling people are like, well, that's not fair. Well, it's never going to be fair. If it's fair to you, somebody else is losing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So you take some fucking ownership of everything and just
I do think that mindset definitely got exacerbated during quarantine, post 2020.
Yeah.
It made everybody seem like I have an opinion and it's right. And now, granted, like I wasn't around 400 years ago, so I don't know what they thought, but I could imagine that they thought something similar.
Yeah.
The difference is being willing and open to listen to someone else's opinion and understand that they're allowed to have an opinion.
And then go on and be like friends regardless.
Yeah, it's a debate. It's not an argument. And then people are confusing now politeness. I don't know what happened, but people are like disconnected from being polite to each other. People, for some reason, what's that old quote? Politeness is a form of dignity, not a form of subservience.
Or passivity.
People think that being polite
I distinctly remember in the 80s being able to, in the early 90s, people on two different sides of political fences, like having conversations.
Yeah.
Like a Democrat and a Republican having conversations and then walking away friends.
There have always been critics.
Yeah.
For every single successful person.
Like, I believe this, but we can share a drink together and
tell me why you believe that.
Yeah, let's have this conversation. Now it's so it's like a
polarized.
It's so polarized.
It's like,
and
if you say you have a different opinion, you get death threats now from people. Like, for what?
Yeah, we just and that goes back to the whole history thing. That goes like we're losing something.
Yeah,
we're losing the depth of who we are as human beings and as Americans when we lose the ability to remove our feelings and think logically and have an intellectual conversation with each other about like what's best to move forward.
Yeah,
for the for all in general. And at the end of the day, I'm gonna stand on this hill until I die. That freedom is best. Individual choice is always number one.
I love we would just watched 1883. I don't know if you've seen it at all, Johnny. God, it's so good because it just shows you the entire pioneering plan of how they made it west. Oh, yeah. And she said something in there that it just stuck with me. She said, "There's really no such thing as freedom because there will always be consequences for your actions and the way that you do things. Yeah. And freedom basically has teeth and it will bite you. Yeah. So careful what you want to go do or say or what have in mind because something will always get you.
Yeah, freedom's the opposite of security.
Right. So they were making their way west for freedom."
Yeah.
And there's Indians killing them and bandits killing them and there's no law, weather, no order. Yeah, all the elements. And they're
you're free.
You're free.
Yeah.
But watch your ass.
Well, that kind of goes back to now it's like people just literally will hand over their freedom for perceived security.
I said this 2 years ago.
I remember.
People do that because they didn't have to work for their freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
They take it for granted.
They didn't have to do anything.
Meanwhile, all the immigrants from communist and socialist countries here are like,
Yeah, I know.
No, sir.
Yeah, because they've seen the other side.
Right.
And they see that this is, a lot of times, if you look throughout history, I've been doing a good amount of research on this because I am upset. If you look throughout history, a lot of times, I don't know what happened from 2020 to now, but it seems like people are proud to talk about what makes them different compared to what makes us united.
Yeah.
And we're not the different states of America. We are united, so we should be united. But something always throughout history, whenever the people seem to get disoriented and diverse from each other, there was always something that happened that brought them together.
The Great Depression.
A foreign enemy, natural disaster. Something in America would always happen, and then we'd be like, oh shit, yeah, red, white, and blue. let's fight together. This is us. And then look at the economy, look at how the country goes back together. Look at all the photos we have, all the people that are successful. And nothing happened right now. Nothing's happening like that right now, right? But why does it seem like it's just like a slow bleed?
Yeah.
Why, like, you know what I mean? Like
it's all planned.
It's just happening.
It's
happening
There was
slow.
a doctor that just went on Rogan saying that this transformer thing is not corona.
I mean, I believe it.
He said that you absolutely cannot get corona twice. It's physically impossible to get it twice. So whatever they're getting is something else, and they're throwing.
So they're saying that
was it injected in?
They're saying that they actually created multiple viruses.
Well,
to
that's
release
someone's
in sequence.
Opinion /
of course,
conspiracy theory sort of. But,
I'll go down that road based off of the last
saying
couple
that
of years.
if you're popping positive on coronavirus tests when you've already has it, they're false positives, is what this guy was saying.
Something else.
I mean, I've seen science, and I've only seen less than 0.1% of what's possible. And if that's possible, then the opposite is possible, right? Like anything could be possible.
So on your talk about bringing people together, do you think, and this is gonna be a little bit conspiracy theory out there? Here we go. So
I'm interested.
This last 2 years has been a shit show.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2022 is going to continue that theme. I think it's going to be a complete shit show. There's two ways. There's going to be a complete shit show because of the collapse of the economy and the lack of leadership in our country, or because midterms are coming up, they are going to flip script hardcore.
Yeah. A lot of people already dropped. A lot of Democratic candidates have already pulled out.
Oh, really? They're not even running. Yeah. So either you're going to see a lot of this like totalitarianism, authoritism, whatever you want to call it, leadership start to flip flop, kind of like what just happened in the UK.
Yeah.
So they can save face and be like, "We did it." You know what I mean?
We're good people.
We're good people. We just had to weather the storm. Vote for us now because we're gonna
forget about all that.
Forget about all that. We're moving into the future now.
Delete that
great.
History.
Yeah. Or they just double down and keep going, which I think that I think they're probably gonna. I don't see them flipping script that hardcore. But to your point of there's always something right that brings everybody together.
Mm-hmm.
They have polarized. They planned and put America. I've never in my entire life, 40 years old, never seen an America so split.
Dude,
now there's been stuff in the 80s, like there was the riots in LA, and there was a lot of stuff that has happened in the past 40 years. But on this scale, I've never seen it. And so with that said, this is obviously, in my opinion, this is just Nick's opinion, very planned out, and very executed very well. Do you think there's going to be something that
yeah, I do,
pulls America back together?
There has to be. There always has been.
But do you think it's like a coincidence, or do you think you think that?
Oh man, I don't know.
That's where I'm getting.
Do you think it's the Antichrist?
No, I'm not going there. But I'm not going to open that Pandora's box. But do you think that they've set the stage for something to happen that is going to reunite America, and then somebody's going to be like, I'm the white knight, man.
I mean, I could see it being that way, yeah. But throughout history, you look at Pearl Harbor, 9/11, like all these things that have happened, and there's like hundreds of other things that have happened. Like you said, the Great Depression happened, natural disasters have occurred, Dust Bowls, like things that have brought people together. Yeah. But that was with, I don't know, I feel like people...
Hey, people say 9/11 was
a
hoax.
Yeah, right. But I mean, like, that might be because they wanted America strong. What if whoever's putting this together doesn't want America to be strong?
You got to follow the money trail, though. I always say this. Like, you got to follow the money. I say that. Because here's the thing, though.
So that's my background.
What good does that do? Okay, so in my mind, they want America spending money, and that is what we're here to do. So consumerism.
But the direction that we're going is not spending money.
Right. So
we're going down.
I think they're making things cheaper, and this is why a day after everything went down, we were like back on track with like the Taliban takes over. We're hugging and kissing on the Chinese. Why is that? Because we're getting little chips made for dirt ass cheap. with the Chinese
Yeah.
to make all of our electronics.
How's that working out for all the people that are overseas that are moved manufacturing and making all their stuff? Oh, you can't get your shit because it's in a box sitting off the coast.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I would, as much as I say I would love to watch America unite again, I mean, it would take something, a sacrifice.
It would.
It would take a large sacrifice.
And that's what I'm concerned about is, you know, going back to the stuff that happened in Afghanistan, I'm looking at it and going,
Right. Yeah.
like,
and how, not only the action of it, but how it was handled
right.
by offices.
And like almost deliberately failed.
Yeah.
Like on purpose.
Like he wasn't in a children's elementary middle. Where was Bush? Elementary school, reading a book.
He was reading a book when it happened.
He wasn't doing that, but he sure as hell acted like he was.
Right.
Like he wasn't doing anything.
He wasn't doing anything. I think he was on vacation actually.
Probably.
No, I think legitimately he was on vacation and he didn't come off vacation.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, he stayed. He wasn't like, oh,
too busy
shit.
for this call.
Yeah, I'm hanging out doing
it. Would suck, but I mean,
he was busy drinking his inshore.
Yeah. I don't know what would happen. I don't know. And unfortunately, like throughout history, it's always been like a moment. Yeah. There's been a moment. And
well, that's what that's like, and great. Everybody would love to see that moment happen, right? But my fear is that moment typically costs a lot of American lives.
Cost a lot.
It costs a lot. And the fact that it potentially could be a staged event,
right,
on purpose, so they drug us through hell just to do that. But you know, I'm kind of torn because obviously they're pushing straight towards a socialist control, which, you know, is essentially will be the end of America.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like that's a great plan for all the youth listening. It's like it briefs well on paper for the first year or so until the money runs out, and then there's no middle class, and the ultra rich is not going to fit the bill for the rest of the country
because they moved.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. I mean, United States definitely need to be united, and it's so difficult too because with all the changes going on in social media and all these platforms, it's hard to unite on our own.
Yeah, well, it's because it's
impossible.
You know, big tech is being manipulated.
What's funny is, real quick, yesterday on Johnny Slick's page, I posted the Origin USA video of Jocko talking about manufacturing.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm not kidding. You know how I did questions in the morning?
Yeah.
I said ask questions. I had like 30 throughout the day, right?
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. As soon as I posted that video on my story, I got no more questions, and the views stopped. I like coincidence, no coincidence, but
no, like, I 100% believe,
bro,
that
like,
it goes against because I mean, what do we talk about Johnny Slicks?
Right, yeah.
Like my post yesterday. Yeah. Like we had like when we met, you was like, these are the things that are important to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, those are the things that are important to me.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah, let's go do karate in the garage.
Yeah.
Let's go. The proof is in the pomade.
Yeah.
But as you know, when we first started Johnny Slicks, which will be 4 years coming up.
Yeah.
So those of you listening, Slick Day is going to be. Are we actually doing it on March 7th this year?
Yeah, we're doing. It's Monday. Yeah, March 7th.
Monday.
Yeah.
Dope.
Why? It's ours. Who cares what day of the week it is? Let's make it
ours. Last year we did it on a different
Saturday, like March 5th or something like that.
I think it was because we were like, Friday's payday. Let's just throw it on the weekend.
Yeah.
But this, whatever.
I think it'd just be the actual day. It's our day.
Yeah.
But we're hitting 4 years.
Yeah.
But when we first started, it was like American made, and we got something out of it.
Yeah.
Now
we're penalized.
It feels like I feel like we're being penalized.
So I wrote that I was writing, right?
Uh-huh.
I write a lot now. I wrote that, and I was like, I wrote really, really well structured. I was writing, and then at the end, I was like, bear with us, and someday soon we hope to be praised by our government for supporting our local economy, not be penalized through taxes. And I just kept going on, and I was like, all right.
So for those of you who are not fully paying attention, Johnny Slicks, we really are passionate about being American made, sourcing American made, giving jobs to Americans. So we have really worked all of our partners, everybody that we work with, all of our products that we get, on different ingredients. I say Johnny works really hard.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot. It's like damn near impossible
because you almost have to I have to interview these companies almost to see what they believe in.
Right.
And like I care about what you believe in.
But what that does is it gives jobs to our community.
Yeah.
We could very easily outsource and be the four of us running this company with almost no employees
in this room.
We could just take over this building and just run media and do it. And a lot of companies have done that and outsourced their stuff to overseas.
China.
And yeah. And but we have, we're standing the ground and fighting the fight and trying to make sure that these people have jobs in the community. And
I picture it like a dam about to burst.
Yeah.
And like all of the Americans holding on and supporting America are holding on. And then you got companies that are like, how much to not hold on to the dam anymore? I'll take that check. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just dues out and they make it harder for us
to
have to hold this weight.
Yeah. There's less people hold the dam. But you said something interesting about that is it's not just our team. It's not just people here. It's if we order from a company that makes a certain ingredient, it's all of their people too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like we're keeping them employed. So like if you start adding up to it, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, we're supporting just in-house. We have like 6, 7, right? But we got boxes. Each ingredient we source, all of the lab equipment.
How many ingredient vendors do we have?
Okay. So ingredient vendors, shit.
I know. It was last I heard it was over 400.
So 400 different like items.
Yeah.
But from companies alone, it's maybe like 48.
Okay.
48 different companies that we source from. That's primary, secondary, and tertiary contacts.
But over 400.
Over 400 different ingredients that are sourced right here in America that I have to constantly do inventory and buy. Yeah.
But it makes a difference.
It absolutely does.
And that's important.
And you can tell too. And I 100% will take it all day, every day. You just got boots, right?
Yeah. Origin? I got from Origin.
I ordered those. Yeah. It took a full 8 weeks.
You know what? Yeah. Who cares?
I know.
Because
they're awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, so get this. This is crazy, man.
I saw what you're bringing. That's what I'm talking about though. That's what you're saying about jobs.
So babe, I don't know if you saw this. I'm going to pull this up. So somebody commented on my story. And let me see what his name is.
The Carhartt thing?
No. Don't get me started.
Boy.
Don't get me started on that.
We gave up on America. Sorry, guys. Deuces. Going
nuts.
to China, making 8% more profit.
I am blown away.
That CEO ain't making it.
Bro, how do you do it? Like literally turn your back on America like that?
No,
so like
he just like somebody didn't inform him of his
demographic.
His demographic, yeah.
They're like, nah, man, you're good. Do it. Go for it, man.
I can't find it, man.
It was on a post.
It was on a post. No, it was it a post or a story?
Yeah. You're talking about the fulfillment?
Yeah. What post was that?
I don't know, man.
Oh shit. Oh, it was our reel.
Oh, the cold reel.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it was.
I'll find it.
That's why I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah. There he is. So he goes, "Hey, what boots are those?" And I told him, I said, "American made, man, Origin." And then so, how do I find send message? There we go. So Mr. Court Allen, I think it's him. He goes, yeah, he's the fulfillment manager at
the
Small World. I'm a fulfillment manager at Origin USA, and so it's like because you bought those boots, right? They were made in the factory, and you follow them. You can see how they're made. It's like American. A couple people their hands made those boots.
Yeah,
and then this guy,
one of your
at the
followers,
warehouse, one of my followers,
packed the order.
Like how freaking dope is that?
Yeah. Like and these are like, that's what I'm saying though. It's so upsetting though, because you walk out your house and it's like your neighbors aren't like, did we just lose the definition of neighbor? Like fellow American?
Didn't.
Like
you did. We did not.
Okay. So anyway, but like these are people,
my neighbors are awesome.
These are people that literally live in the country with us. Yeah. These are our people. These are like American people. Yeah. And we're just like, fuck you.
Right.
I don't care about you anymore.
Right.
And by doing that, I'm going to succeed more. It's like, bro, do you know how a tribe works? Do you know how anything works? You're just going to do it on your own? Like, definitely a team here in America. Like, we can't just overcome, can't win wars by yourself.
If you want to succeed,
Yeah.
And that's on the grand scheme of things, that's how you, I mean, if you want to talk about, go Google asymmetrical warfare.
Don't go on Google right now, though.
Go on.
Did you see the cover that they have?
It's like the mask guys, like how to
get
find
vaccinated and wear masks, save lives.
What's that other server you can use that's similar?
DuckDuckGo.
There you go.
VPN.
They should come up with a better marketing name.
Yeah, they should. Yeah.
I don't know. What was I gonna say?
I don't know.
Shit, man.
Google that, you said.
Oh yeah, you said if Google something.
Google what?
I don't know. Something about neighbors.
Community, neighbors.
No.
It's gone. It's over.
You guys interrupted me. It was over.
Sorry, man.
I'm like a goldfish.
I just want to keep people off Google for the day. Actually, it was up there yesterday too.
I know. I immediately regretted it and got out.
Didn't they come out and say that masks don't work? Didn't they say that already? Isn't that like a thing? That's happened a while ago, right?
That was like 2 years ago.
Right.
They initially came out and said
no, I mean like the CDC said something, right? Yeah. Like what? Oh, I don't understand. You said you saw somebody wearing 3.
Oh yeah,
bro. I thought rapid twice was a bad.
I thought we were like getting better here.
Yeah,
because I've been here. We live in a bubble. Yeah, essentially right here in our little town.
Yeah, apparently.
And so I just went to the Squire program out in California and to fly out there and I see all this stuff that people are like, let's go Brandon. They're fed up. They're all this stuff.
Yeah,
bro. I go start traveling. There's people with 3 masks on.
And a shield.
And a face shield. And wearing latex gloves.
But they're vaccinated. I sent you guys that post.
Double, triple, boosted.
So my thing is, the fat...
On my way to get tested for the virus that I have the vaccine for. Dude, come on, man.
So I can't imagine, and I was talking to this with Mark. I was like, I just can't picture living in that much fear.
Yeah.
And if you are in that much fear, why are you even
out?
I don't know.
Like
you're afraid, and I don't want to offend anybody.
You're afraid of air.
Yeah, literal air, invisible air.
And the thing is like with 3 masks on, I don't care what you say, you are reducing the amount of oxygen that feeds to your prefrontal cortex, which is the decision-making part of your brain. It's the separation from your what we consider humans, into our lizard brains.
Yeah.
And you are reducing the oxygen to your prefrontal cortex of your decision making and logic.
And that's the part of the brain that is the final part of the brain to develop at men 25, women, or is it women 25?
No, women's
men
younger.
27?
It's like 18, I think.
I developed
at
11.
24, 25, and men
I was
27.
I was a full-grown man at 11 years old.
But we're numbing the part of our brain that makes decisions.
Right.
The thing that literally stops us from being sheep is being, and I'm like, that's my theory. I tell Rebecca, and she told me not to say it, but I don't want to offend anybody, but I really do think intelligence level has dropped.
I think it has too.
Drastically. Yeah. I said to Dr. D the other day,
you won't offend anybody. Everybody considers themselves the exception to whatever you're saying.
Yeah, okay. So you are the exception to this. But I really do. I'm like, okay, so what happened in the last 4 months? For some reason now, I feel like people are doing things that logically and intellectual people would not do. And I'm like, you got your 8th needle, you got your 9th one now with all 12 boosters, and but now you're driving a car, you got on the wrong side of the car to drive it. They're just making weird decisions.
Because you're living in mask and getting.
No one told me. I wasn't told by the TV.
And then
I don't know what to
my
do.
master. And then getting fed this stuff and who knows what's in that thing, man.
That's what I'm scared about. I'm like, so we know a lot about the brain. We've seen, they were doing experiments in the early 1900s on the brains.
Yeah.
Right? Not sound and not health board way, but they were doing experiments and figuring out what parts of the brain operate, what gets triggered by doing this and doing that. We know a lot about the human brain, and we only know 1% really.
Right.
So and that's what we know. What else is out there that other people know, and how can they manipulate it to the point where, is it possible that there is a shot or some sort of thing that can numb your brain so you can't freely think? That's not crazy. That's possible. It's 100% possible.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It really does seem like intelligence levels.
Well, you look at if you look at the whole thing, right? It's all about control. Obviously.
Yeah. Obviously.
So why would they not put that on them as well?
Yeah.
Here's what I want to know. This is what I've been really sort of interested. What has happened to hookup culture, Tinder and all these different things?
Just wear a mask.
Are people hey, have you been tested for COVID? How are people handling this whole dating scene?
It's do you wear a mask?
We'd have to ask somebody that's in that. And none of us.
I think
none of us are in that.
Who's that? Joe
scenario.
Rogan said, didn't he say that the MAGA hat is the same as a mask for Democrats?
Oh, I don't know.
If you see someone wearing a mask, you know that they belong to that culture. So do you think that maybe on Tinder they have a profile picture with the mask on? I don't care what's under it. We believe the same thing.
How are people getting laid?
Yeah,
Johnny Slicks.
Yeah, Johnny Slicks.
That's true. You're right.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Johnny Slicks will get you laid.
Open that email.
Valentine's Day is coming, and I just want everybody to get laid. And so,
Yeah, how many are we at? 12, 13 babies? Johnny
12,
Slicks babies?
last I heard.
12 Johnny Slicks babies. That's 12 American babies.
But I think you're going to scare people off when you start talking about that. We're just talking about getting laid. We're not talking about making babies.
Yeah, but that one goes to the other.
yeah,
You're not
Use
supposed to-
protection.
You're not supposed to-
protection.
That's on you.
Wear a mask. Use protection. These are all your choices.
That's on you. Yeah. I am Johnny Slicks. I get laid. I don't have a baby. It's possible. It's possible. You don't. Not one equals the other, but you got to have one to have the other, right? So
No, but for Valentine's Day, we really do. We put together a whole slogan, and our whole campaign is, do you want to get laid?
Johnny Slicks will get you laid. That's
So if you
true.
see that email in your inbox, click it.
yeah,
If there's any doubt, we've got videos and reviews to prove it.
not like they're safe for work videos.
Yeah,
not like
safe.
not safe for work videos.
The thumbnail. Don't
yeah,
be fooled by the thumbnail of Johnny and
yeah.
Rebecca in bed together naked.
Yeah,
They're not.
That's an everyday thing. I'm always in bed. Yeah.
Anyways, well, guys, listen, question everything. And if there's somebody that's listening saying, man, I'm getting pressured to do this, I'm getting pressured to do that, you feel like you're alone. You're not. You're not. I'm right there with you. Johnny's right there with you. Miss Capra's right there with you. There's a whole
millions of Americans.
millions of Americans,
They're
whatever.
they're being silenced, so you can't hear them, but they're there.
What did old PRES say? There's 375 million people vaccinated. I'm like, where?
Yeah.
Where are these people at?
Is this spread outside the U.S.? Like,
Yeah,
like,
right.
what are you talking about?
Yeah,
man?
what are you taking credit for? Oh, that guy doesn't have it. He's a poor man. Somebody needs to get him in a home.
I think
Anyways.
he fell down one too many times.
Thanks, babe. You're not alone, and question everything. And remember your history. Those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it. And I don't mean just American history, but everything. This stuff goes back for thousands and thousands of years.
Yeah.
And it's we're all being played. Well, I'm not being played. Some people are being played, and we're just out here trying to live the American dream.
That still exists.
That's-
I think there was somebody that recently that said that the American dream doesn't exist anymore.
Oh,
Somebody in office said that.
Dreams right. It works right here in
I
our
forget who it
circle.
was. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's called work.
Right. And when you're listening to this, just so everybody knows, I'm just doing a few announcements here for the regular listeners. Next week, which when you're listening will be this week,
Well, it's Monday.
Monday,
It's Monday.
the 24th,
Yeah.
we will be offering 20% off all Johnny Slicks winter fragrances because we're doing our winter closeout sale
Oh, on Monday?
on Monday.
Yeah,
Oh,
starting,
dope.
yeah.
So we're starting it then until they run out.
So don't even use the Harborside code. You just do that.
Yeah. And it's going to be pumpkin slicks, maple slicks, apple slicks, Mary Slickmas.
Yep.
You can get
Oh,
all those
damn.
for 20% off, and that's it. And then they're done
For the whole year.
until the end of the year.
Black Friday and
Oh, yeah.
September
For
1st
Black
is
Friday.
when fall comes back.
Well, get them while they're hot. The proof is in the pomade.
Fact.
Yeah. All right, guys. You guys know the deal. Never quit, never surrender, always forward. And we'll see you guys in the next episode.